and this is C4 Scope. And if you thought that opening was just an off-putting commercial for Frankenberry, well, my friends, you are sorely mistaken. Because today, I won't be talking about a heart-clogging cereal. Instead, I'll be referring to this. I'll be talking about this. Return of the Living Dead, the best zombie movie ever made. Made in 1985 and directed by Dan O'Bannon. Let's not waste any time and jump right in. The title of the movie is a little misleading because you would think it's a sequel to any of George A. Romero's Dead series that started with the classic Night of the Living Dead movie from 1968. That was the movie that actually introduced the modern zombie, but there's no real correlation between Return of the Living Dead and any of George Romero's films. So where does the title come from, you might ask? Well, I'll elaborate as I explain the plot. See, we open in 1984 somewhere in Kentucky, at a medical supply facility where young man Freddy is learning the ropes of his new job from his superior, Frank. Freddy has some strange fascination with dead stuff, and his superior takes that as an opportunity to tell the young man about how the film Night of the Living Dead was actually a true story. He explains that the military was working on some sort of bioweapon that got out of their control and led to dead people getting up and walking around. However, when the director of Night of the Living Dead was going to make a movie out of the Army's fuck-up, he was forced to change the story or else the Army was going to sue him, thus giving us the Night of the Living Dead we all know and love. Frank then goes on to explain that when the Army was capturing and containing the zombies, that they were going to send them to a secure facility, but there was a mix-up in the transportation and the bodies got shipped to the medical supply warehouse instead. When Frank takes Freddy downstairs to check out the corpses, they accidentally release the chemical, inhale some of it, and the next thing they know, all the dead things in the warehouse start coming to life. So that's pretty much where the title came from. The dead here are actually the dead from another fictionalized event that apparently a real-life movie is based on. As a side note, I would just like to say that the acting in this movie is amazing. A lot of the reactions seem like really genuine reactions, even though sometimes it can get a little hammy. From that point on, things just keep getting progressively worse. When a dead body reanimates, the two men call their boss and devise a plan between the three of them to just kill it by doing what they do in the movies and destroy the brain. Hopefully that way they can get rid of the evidence and there won't be a big scandal that will hurt the company. But it doesn't work, leading to one of the funnier lines.
I thought you said if we destroyed the brain, it'd die. It worked in the movie! Well, it ain't working now, Frank. I mean, the movie's line!
So not only does the zombie not die from the brain trauma, but each individual part that becomes separated from the main body basically becomes its own separate entity and moves around on its own. That is something that has never really been explained, expanded upon, or really utilized as much in basically the majority of zombie movies. It's very unique to this movie because it's one of the first movies that really introduced this idea. They figure out that they can't kill the damn thing and decide to take it next door to a crematorium to burn it down to nothing but ashes so it can't come back. But after burning the body, the smoke that enters the atmosphere carries chemicals from the ashes into the clouds and comes back down as acid rain, and seeps into the soil of a nearby cemetery and starts to bring all the dead people back to life. Also in this cemetery are Freddy's group of friends, the weirdest, most 80s group of punks ever. They're such punks that one of them is literally named Suicide. He cracks me up because in one scene he has a naked chick dancing on him in the middle of a cemetery, and he's actually contemplating his life and how he fits in the world around him with the way he chooses to look. Then he goes on to throw the naked girl out of his way and say have some respect for the dead. I mean, God, it freaking kills me. It's like, dude, you and your friends are smoking, playing loud music, and dancing in this cemetery, and he had the gall to tell someone else to show respect? One thing that really confuses me in relation to this group is Freddy's girlfriend, Tina. It's not so much a overarching issue that I have with the movie. It's just something that really kind of offsets me. You know, she seems like a normal chick. She doesn't curse, she dresses normally, so I don't really understand why she's hanging around this particular group of kids that are so clearly delinquents. I'm not so sure, but maybe it's supposed to add to the comedy element of this horror comedy. Anyway, getting back to the story, the zombies awaken from the cemetery and start chasing our heroes. We soon find out that Freddy and Frank are becoming zombies because they inhaled the chemical and are slowly dying. Later, we even find out that the zombies can not only talk,
but think, and that all they really want are brains. Specifically, only brains. We even learn from one of the zombies that the reason they eat brains is because being dead hurts, and consuming brains relieves some of this pain. I can't think of any zombie movie that actually explains why the zombies eat brains. Furthermore, for those of you that don't know, this was actually the first movie that introduced the idea of zombies eating brains. The rest of the movie is pretty easy to explain in just a few sentences. Freddy and Frank become zombies, half the cast is killed, and right at the end, the army gets the idea to nuke the whole fucking town. But of course, the smoke from the explosion rises and carries the chemicals into the clouds, and it comes back down as acid rain, possibly continuing the cycle, leaving the audience with a "oh shit, here we go again" feeling. Now, I'm not a person that finds zombies particularly scary, like, at all. For the most part, they walk slow, don't talk, or emote, and can be put down easily by any kind of hard trauma to the head. And because zombies are like that in almost every zombie-related media, I've noticed that the focus isn't on the actual zombies, but rather the characters the zombies are going after. It's more about how they interact, or what they'll do to each other or between each other. And in most cases, the true monsters aren't even the zombies anymore, but rather a human villain. That's all fine and good, but that means you can take the zombies out of the equation and replace them with, I don't know, rabid tigers, and it would still have the same effect. What I'm trying to say is that in most movies or TV shows, the zombies aren't a credible threat. They don't stand out. In Return of the Living Dead, however, they are the threat. There's no human villain. The only turmoil between the characters is just their panic. The entire film, the zombies are the issue. They can't be killed, they can communicate, they can run, and they even have cognitive functioning, even if it is on a rudimentary level. These zombies are terrifying because you get the feeling that things really are just going to keep getting worse because the dead just won't stop coming. In most films and shows, the idea of being in a world where there's always something trying to get you, and if you fuck up you'll die, is meant to be the scary aspect of that world. But here, it's amped to 11 because this is a world where not only is something always trying to get you, but it will get you, no matter what you do. That is truly bone-chilling. Another advantage to this movie is that it's a movie where we get to see a zombie apocalypse start. You know, I get kind of sick with seeing all these different shows and movies where we pick up already in the midst of the apocalypse. Think about it. How many times have you been with a character that literally just wakes up and all hell is broken loose already? Rarely do you get to witness the birth of zombies breaking out and actually taking over the world. So it's refreshing to see how and why it started, and with the way the zombies are characteristically, being almost impossible to kill, it's also very believable.
To me, this is the best zombie movie ever made, because it portrays zombies as a devastating threat and something more than just a mere plot device used for creating drama or used as a character study. On top of that, the acting is great, like I said before, and the humor is spot on. You can't get any more on the dot than this movie. The funny moments in this film are just way too many to count, which is why I highly recommend you go see it for yourself. Get scared and laugh your ass off. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review. I know I certainly did. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Is this the best zombie movie ever made? And if not, tell me what you think is. But more than anything, I hope you have a happy Halloween. Good night.